Hey, I'm Saul. I'm from Des Arc, Arkansas, a town of about 1,500 people, and I own the D3 Auto Group.
How did you first connect with Mike West?
I'm going to say this was 7 to 10 years ago. I'm not sure the exact timeline, but when we were starting to grow our business, we were desperately in need for lenders for our car dealership. And I wasn't looking at like big dealerships because they were, they've already grown to this scale that I was not at. So I was kind of looking for somebody that was just a little bit ahead of me in life or business or whatever. And so I came across Mike West's post on uh, Dealership Life on Facebook and actually just private messaged him. He was excited. He had just made an announcement that he had got a new bank, and it was a bank that like we so coveted. And so I just private messaged him. I kind of like creeped on his page or whatever to see what kind of dealer he was, and I was like, man, if he can do it, then maybe I can do it. Dan Reel, I believe, told Mike and me, there's this guy. So Mike went to a 20 group and visited with Dan Reel, and I had already knew Dan Reel. And he says, there's this guy named Saul. There's this guy named Mike West. You guys are really similar personalities. You got to meet each other. And little did we know, we were very like-minded in a lot of different areas, and not only like business but also philosophy. And so after we got to share numbers, like, because like this was like 2 or 3 years before I had met Mike, that I had Facebook messaged him. And so Daniel actually hooked us up, exchanged numbers, and then we just became really not only good friends because we shared so many of the same philosophies about literally the mind and the way people think and work. And so it's just been a really good, really strong relationship.
What was your experience like working with Mike to grow your business?
I think it was, the book of Proverbs says iron sharpens iron, as one brother sharpens another. I think that was the experience that I had, is he had great ideas, I had great ideas, and we shared them together as we navigated through that. And he secured his franchise a little bit before I did, although we were both working for it at the same time. But we still had the same vision, the same path going through there. So that was a good thing. We just kind of helped each other along, and we still are to this day.
What stands out the most to you about Mike?
His ability to think outside the box and not go with the status quo, as and original ideas. My strength is like I'm a really good copycat. I can take someone's idea and I can kind of like twist it and use most of it, like I do Michael's. I take a lot of his stuff and like use most of it, and he allows me to do it, and I kind of use it in my world. He's a really original thinker, whereas my thinking is I take that idea and I kind of put my own spin on it. But he's he thinks outside the status quo, and he's so intense about it, and he's so focused on it that it just it makes everything better. And so because you're not like everybody else, and that's one thing that I liked about him, is he's not trying to be like everybody else, regardless of ego. And I think that's one thing where a trap that I fell into is, we want to be like those big guys that are selling all these new cars and all this. Like, I've fallen into that trap. But at the end of the day, what is success to you? And he has defined that very clearly in his life, and I really admire that about him. And so it's hard to stick to that, because we see the woman in the red dress and we want to go after her and chase her, or we want to go after her and chase this shiny thing. I just watched The Matrix, by the way. We wanted to go after and chase this shiny thing that everybody else is doing. But what I admire most about him is he stays focused on what works, and he doesn't get distracted by that. And that's super important. Like, that's super important in life. If you've got something, if you've got, your family life, your work life, whatever it is, if something is working, let's just run that play till it doesn't work anymore. And I think that's what he's super successful at.
What sets Mike apart from others?
I think his intensity to what he does, that is even way more intense than what I have. He has a fire inside of him, and almost like a chip on his shoulder that stays there constantly 24/7. And to be a great business person, you kind of have to have this. To be a great athlete, you kind of have to have this. Michael Jordan won 6 championships, but he was pissed because he didn't get the 7th. And not everybody has that, and Mike really does have that. It's like he made all this money and he's pissed because he didn't make more. And it's not what the money is, it's what the money represents. It's how successful was his process, it's how happy was his people, it's the whole thing. He's not satisfied, and he's just kind of got that chip on his shoulder. And I think that's what makes him a weapon. I mean, a nuclear weapon. So in business, for sure.
Has Mike provided value to you or your business?
Absolutely. And one thing is he's always done, is he's always seems like he's given. I feel like I'm getting more than I'm receiving, so I'm so happy to do these interviews for him because I've received so much for him, and he gives that information freely. And to me, it's almost like what he's done is almost like the movie Moneyball. It's like why are not more franchise people breaking down their system and going after his process? But they can't see it. And that's good. That's good for people like me because I can see it. I can see the vision of what he's doing and the processes that he's put in play. And so, yeah, helping me, when I'm struggling, I can call him anytime, day or night. He answers the phone. But he does that to people who are also knows that he would do the same. That reciprocates, and I do the same for him.
What have you gained most from Mike?
I would just say with the in how he's one step ahead of me, that I've been able to try to grab that next step in business, whether it was gaining that first lender or whether it was being able to sell X amount of cars at this particular store. Because he did it, I felt like that I could, because I'm kind of one of those persons. I need to see somebody else do it first. And so he was kind of like the pioneer to everything. And once he showed me that it's possible, like he was kind of like the guinea pig, it's possible to do this, Dare. Anybody can do it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm anybody. I've got a couple of brain cells. I'm anybody. I can do this too. And I think it's just that level of confidence that he portrayed, that hey, you can do this, Darren. And so that's been really valuable in my business and growing it and all that kind of stuff. So I hope I've provided a little bit of value to him moving forward as he has me.
Describe Mike West in one word.
Intense.
Who is Mike West to you?
Mike West is a like-minded business person and friend who would help me do whatever, no matter the situation.
What is the overall impact Mike has had on your life?
If you really step back and look, he's taught me of like, I don't have to like mimic everything, if that makes sense. So in that regard, I think that's been really good. That's been really cool for me to see. And it's hard to explain into words how you really want to be like somebody, but then when you step back, do I really want their life? Do I really want the hours that he's putting in? No, I don't. I'm in my lower 40s now and, getting to that midlife thing. And so he's really helped me identify what I want too. And if we can help each other do that, then that's great. I think we get trapped, and I've gotten trapped in this, especially in my later 30s. It's like, that guy's working harder than me, and I can't stand it. Because I've got that fire, I've got that drive, right? And like, oh man, he worked till 8 o'clock at night, and I've been at home since 4:30. Well, that's my life. I've got 6 children. I wanted to be home at 4:30 and play with them until, we went to bed that night. So, I think that as business people and people that we can kind of get jealous of the guy working harder than us. But Mike doesn't see it as work, and I don't really see it as work either, but we just have different lives. You know what I'm saying? And that's been really good. That's been really good for me over the past year. And here's the thing, and here's whether you have a true friend or not. I'm happy for his success. Like, I can't say that about anybody, but I'm proud of his success, and I hope that he's proud of the life that I'm building. So I really am. And so I can't say, most of the time the competitor in me, I want to beat that person. But I'm really proud of what he's done, and I mean, he really is a good friend to me.
What is your message to the younger generation?
So you got to work hard. Everybody's told you that. You got to be dedicated. But there's no handbook on this thing. You have to figure it out for yourself. You have to figure out what makes you tick. You have to figure out the keys to your success. You can emulate Mike all you want to. You can emulate me. You can emulate Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, whoever you want to. But you got to work hard. You got to have a vision, and you got to put things in place. And let me tell you the one thing that is so important. Like Mike does, you got to get up every day, even when you get defeated. We all have bad days. You got to get up every day, day after day, day after day. When it doesn't feel good, most people, everybody expects it to be hard. This is the deal. Everybody expects when you start something new, when you're going to college, when you get married, everybody expects it to be hard. But the problem is that it's harder for longer than you expect it to be. And that gap is where most people quit. It's harder for longer. But then when you can break over, you start to see some light. You start to see that positive feedback loop. A light bulb comes on. And like, okay, I can do this. And then it doesn't get as hard anymore because you adapt. That learning curve speeds up and things begin to flow a lot easier, if that makes sense. So I think that's the main thing that they can learn from him is he's at it every day. For 20 years, he hasn't stopped. 7 days a week. And you don't have to do that for the rest of your life, but you do have to do that for a while if you want that to work.
Why should people want to learn from Mike West?
So we're all chasing this happiness, this money, whatever success looks like to you, but there are universal principles in this world. I happen to believe in the Bible. I happen to believe in the teachings of Jesus and the Lord, and there's universal principles that he put in there that will allow us to be successful. And whether you believe or not, there are principles in this life that if you get up, that if you work hard, that if you do these things, that if you stay consistent and persevere, then you'll be fulfilled, then you'll be happy. And that looks different to all of us, but those principles are universal to mankind. They just look different to all of us. And so if you're searching for that, which a lot of young people are, if you're searching for that, then you need to pay attention. If you listen to Mike and you want to be successful, there are principles which he's going to teach you that are going to make a world of difference. And it only takes, what I found out is that it only takes one sentence, one video, one clip, a 15, oh my gosh, the light bulb comes on, and then you start to get that positive feedback loop and you start to see that success. And once it starts rolling, I think you're going to have a lot of fun and you're going to be really fulfilled.